day and welcome to episode 4. Time to rise and shine and get on those old Dakar tracks. So let's take a look at the map again and see our progress. The night before we camped just outside Boudenib. From Boudenib we headed along an old Dakar track towards Erfoud. This was a rather long track. You could see it was quite rough and had been ridden by 4x4s in potentially lots of other rallies. But it was a fantastic track, and as you'll see along the way, we pick up some punctures again and have quite the adventure. Once we got into Erfoud, again we had some lunch, refueled, and made our way towards Merzouga, where the big dunes are. This is, along these trails, this is where the deep sand started. Now, we didn't quite make it all the way into Merzouga. We decided to camp somewhere between Erfoud and Merzouga, just outside of Merzouga, between the dunes. It was a magical little camping spot, and you'll see a bit of that footage as we go through.
Assalamualaikum. Okay. I go in the sun. Warm up. Oh. Cold. Don't smoke. Don't smoke.
We tended to get up in the mornings around sunrise. Pack up slowly, get our tents sorted out, get the bikes repacked again, and then get going. So it was, the sun was definitely up. It was definitely quite cold in the morning in some parts of the desert. The desert takes a little while for that glorious sun to warm things up a bit. So it is winter time, and it's beautiful in the mornings to get going. Look at some of the scenery that we're getting to see along the way. But we definitely got a wiggle on and got stuck into our days pretty early on.
Look at this. In the middle of nowhere, there's like a canal here, and it's like mega deep. And I was riding, picking my way through, and I got right up to the edge of it. Oh my God. Definitely didn't want to end up in there, because that would be game over.
This was still fairly early on in our day. We dropped into a dried up riverbed, which from the satellite mapping had lots of tracks on it. But when we actually got into the riverbed itself, it was a very different story. It looked like there'd been some floods, some pretty severe floods. And as you'll see in the video clips, going into the next couple of minutes, it was there was no signs of tracks. And the soil was that super silty powder, which was extremely hard to ride. Some parts were even wet, and there was water in the riverbed still, so it wasn't completely dried up, which spelt massive warning signs to me eventually after checking it out. And we eventually aborted this part of the route. It was only a couple of kilometers, so we routed around it, and we rejoined our mapping.
Stop. We go in here, but it could be very soft. Just let me go in, and then if I get through, then yeah. This is hard. Yeah, come. Follow my line if you can. Yeah, you've got to follow my line. Oh mate, Nigel needs to follow me. This is tricky. Yeah, I need to come back. Whoa, you have to be very careful here. Follow my line. Mark went a little bit offline, he's stuck I think. Okay. Oh, that caught me out. I could see I was looking down a tree now. You come out there.
As you can see from that slow speed off, the sand was very soft, and what I was doing at the time was I was looking for my mate to try and spot where he was and how far he'd got into the riverbed, and before you know it, you lose your front end. So it happened very quickly, very easy, but in these little soft patches. No harm done really. I mean, just get the bike up and go find your mate, but it's just an illustration of what's going on.
Oh fuck. How'd you get down here? Oh mate, you gotta... Yeah. Alright. So we do have to get to the left hand side. But just gotta watch these muddles. So listen, follow my line, yeah, and if I get stuck we'll stop and help each other, and we know that's a shit line. If we all go off in different lines, yeah, it's going to be a fuck up.
So at this point we gave it one more try. We went down into the riverbed. I had a look around here. It was only getting worse and worse, and all I could see was more water and some really soft looking dark patches. Those dark patches were shouting wet to me, and they were shouting you're going to be stuck for a very long time. So it was mission abort. I had one last look here and I was like, no boys, come on, let's get out of here. Let's not be silly. We've got big adventure bikes, we're not an enduro bikes. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Almost the same spot. Fucking hell, that's very good. Front end spot. Wait. I need a handle. 2, 3. Okay. Yeah, that bridge back there, we can get... There's a bridge back there that'll join us back on the trail. So we'll go over there.
Oh, what's this? Oh, fucking strap's come off.
Yep.
Just stick it in that. Just for me, please.
Go right. Stop there end on the lap. Oh, my jacket's filled up with sand. Let's take 5.
Good old-fashioned bit of teamwork there to get us out of there. Yeah, it was time to abort, have a little break, have a drink of water, and then reroute and get ourselves back on track. No big deal, and all part of the fun, working as a team, helping each other. Some definite heavy breathing went on in that riverbed though. It was quite amusing. After that riverbed fun, the trails opened up a little bit and we got into some more wider open desert space, and it just allowed us to get some flow on, get some air through our systems, and really start to enjoy the trails again. This was heading towards Boudenib, where we then picked up those old Dakar trails. It wasn't quite there yet, but things were about to get a lot more challenging.
Second gear, Nigel.
So we are now on the Boudenib to Erfoud track, which is a long off-road track, and we're now picking up some real deep sand. So some of the boys were struggling in this real powdery stuff. We had to turn around on several occasions, come and help each other, because these are big heavy adventure bikes, and if you're lifting your bike by yourself, you're going to tire yourself out. So teamwork really came into it, and we really started keeping track on each other.
Today's going to be hard. You'll be down again. This is what I was worried about.
I may have been worried about this, but this was very much what I expected, so I turned around immediately, went looking for my mate to support him. Again, you're out in the desert, it's a pretty harsh environment, you've got to look after each other, so back I went. Often what it meant was I was doing these difficult sections, you're going through it, you're getting clear, checking on your mates, having to come back, so you're doing it a second time, and then helping, which is natural and you absolutely have to do it, and then you're riding it a third time. So my day became very tiring, but I stepped into this fully knowing that this was an eventuality, so I did extra fitness before the trip, making sure that I was able to keep these energy levels up and ride these long days. But definitely hard work, lots of fun, and an adventure is never meant to be easy, is it?
Let me find some hard standing there. It's like second, third if you can. So third, it seems to work a lot better, yeah?
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Right, it's fucking rubbish.
Huh? I can smell fuel.
Yeah.
Got it?
Yeah.
You got to go right. Don't go through there, okay?
Yeah.
Go right. get some momentum, pick your way through the dunes, stay on the gas. Yeah?
Yeah.
This is the hard stuff.
Found what worked for me in that really deep stuff when we got into those really deep sandy sections was to stay out of the ruts, to make sure the bike's at minimum in third gear, and keep the revs up, keep some momentum going, and just focus on where you want to go. But ride through the dunes, don't be shy to ride through the dunes and ignore the camel grass a little bit. Obviously watch out for the fish and soft stuff, but it was the ruts that really messed up the big heavy bikes.
I just think it's wise. It's wise to do, and then instead you regret your decisions. You know, like why didn't I put 4 more PSI in to prevent a bench flood?
A number of random things happened there. That was Mark with his one sandal. He managed to lose a sandal along the way. Somehow it got out of his strapping. And then we came in the middle of the desert to this random bit where they were selling curios, and there was 1,000,001 stickers from rally companies and touring companies and things like that. So that's this old Dakar route, obviously quite famous. As we progressed further along, it became rougher and rougher. The section had some cool berms, but it had some really rough bits, and punctures became a problem. So we picked up a puncture along here. Now, what I'd just done, and you heard in that audio moments before along the same track, was I decided to stop, and I had 30 psi in my front tyre. What I decided to do was up that to between, I think it was about 34 psi I ended up putting up in my front tyre because of the rocks. And the whole trip, maybe I was lucky, but the whole trip I didn't pick up a single pinch flat puncture. And that's because I think I ran a slightly higher pressure in my front tyre, and also I was running a Michelin C21, what was it called? Rock. Stone King, that was it. It was a Stone King. So that made all the difference for me. And you can see along this track here, as Mark goes past me, you can see there's some lots of jagged rocks, and he picks up a puncture pretty soon. So here we have the puncture. I'm getting off my bike, pulling out some tyre levers for Mark out of my one of my bags on my bike. And he's super fast at doing punctures, so it didn't actually take very long at all for him to replace that inner tube on the front tyre, and we were up and running again pretty soon after that. So, yeah, we're talking 15 minutes. But in those 15 minutes, you get quite hot in the sun. So, yeah, it was good to get moving again. Spot the red tubeless system on the back of my mate Nigel's bike. More about that later. We stopped in town for tagine and chips because we're British, and then we made our way out to where we camped in the dunes here. Before I got too settled in the campsite between the dunes, I decided to take my bike out and go have a play in these little dunes. It was a bit further acclimatization to the deep sand that was coming the next couple of days, so I had a bit of a razz about, 20-25 minutes and I was done. Bit of a hoot on the bike. I'd taken some very light luggage off and my tools, which was quite heavy on the front end of the bike. I was doing some donuts and just getting the feel of the bike in that loose sand, gaining confidence and really preparing myself for the next couple of days, because you'll see in the next few videos that the dunes get big and we get into the really big dunes.
Miho, what are you doing?
I like a cup of soup too.
Yeah.
You're making campfire?
Oh, it's video. Yes, I'm making campfire. I do
Hey,
apologize.
where are you?
In the middle of Sahara Desert. Let's call it that.
You are indeed. In the dunes. We're proper in the Sahara. What an adventure. It's quite cold at night. I'll be wrapped up. Extra jacket on, extra layers. Put my tracky pants on. Get tucked up, but get my beanie on. Stay nice and warm. We'll go play again tomorrow.
Thanks for watching. See you on the next one. The next one, we hit the dunes of Merzouga and we get to play big time. One of us happens to get heat exhaustion, and we have to be very careful and look after that situation. But we'll see how that plays out. Tune into the next one.